Hey guys, it's just me. Med was supposed to be here, but I don't know where he is right now. So I'm just gonna roll because I wanted to do a show, and I've never done this alone. I mean, I have. It's been a long time, so this is gonna be a little weird. But I've got a lot of fun stuff for you guys tonight. I'm excited. So drop some stuff in the comments. I'm gonna pivot a little bit on what I wanted to do, but what I've got on the docket for you guys is I'm gonna do some Packers. I'm very excited. Not a lot, just a little bit of Packers. I was gonna throw some pop culture up. That's why I'm wearing Deadpool Wolverine. But I was gonna throw DC thing at Med. So if he pops in, that's what we'll do. No worries. We're gonna have a great show anyways. I'm excited. I'm actually not gonna hit all the picks for you guys. I'm just gonna hit a few of the big games, give my big thoughts. I've got a fantasy playoff big question I want to ask you guys. And we'll hit some fantasy football stuff for people that are in the fantasy football playoffs. Hopefully you made it. I only made it in 2 out of 4 leagues. I think I'm gonna start with fantasy, hit some Packers, a little pop culture, and I've got some big NFL questions for you guys. So hopefully it's a fun show. Hopefully I'm not solo the whole time, but if I am, we're just gonna make the best out of it. So yeah. So I'm excited. But anyways, I did not. I'm just gonna be honest. I did not watch that game last night, the Rams 49ers. I feel really bad. I told a coworker in a work league to start Brock Purdy, and then I'm actually playing against him. So I only made the playoffs in 2 out of 4 leagues. I'm a little sad about it, but I had a guillotine, got eliminated. Work one that was free, made it was 7-7, so I didn't make it, which kind of sucks. Is what it is. Uh this one really sucked. I was gonna put up a video about this, and the dynasty people watching, dynasty football players, you'll probably laugh at my mistakes. It was my first year ever doing dynasty football, and man, this sucked. I made 6 trades the last week. This was brutal. And since I'm the only one here, I'm going to take little breaks in the talking. I'm still getting over a cold. I made 6 trades, and the worst one was I traded Josh Jacobs away, but I got him. I traded him away for a first, a second, 2 fourths, Amari Cooper for just Jacobs and a sixth because you get picks for 3 years. So did that trade, and if you have thoughts on that trade, leave it in the comments. I'm going to start with some fantasy. I'm going to be throwing more fantasy in the show. This show is going to take a slightly different look moving forward. Yeah, I've got some news I'll break later, but it's going to be a slightly different show. There's going to be more fantasy football in it, even in the off season moving forward. So I'm going to start with fantasy. So, anyways, made this trade. It's a bummer, and I want to hit some big start sits of the week. I'm going to go through the games, give some big fantasy plays in every game, and like 4 or 5 of the big games of the weekend. I'm really excited. Talk full Packer preview for you guys. I'm very excited about that as well. But I made these trades. I was 0-5. This was epic. Won 7 in a row. So this team, all streaks, 0-5, 7 in a row, 7-5. And then I made it to 7-7. There you are. I just decided to start because I was like, I hope he's alive.
No, I honestly, there were some issues going on with my internet, so now I'm here. So we're
You know
good.
what sucks is, so here's what I was going to start with. For people watching, here's what I was going to start with. I was going to start with this. Born in the darkness, you merely adopted it. Like the sad bears you fan you are, cosmic failure. What movie is that?
Well, it's evidently Bane. I mean,
Yeah. Can you give me your bone saw now that because I completely missed it? Can you
oh,
give me your
the bone saw.
bone saw McGraw?
Oh man, of course. I mean, it's simple. And I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at. I can, of course, now I can't do it, but sitting here looking at Jason Toppy's little remark right here. He's going to be here for the next hour, and he's going nowhere.
He's going nowhere. You know, dude. So I was talking fantasy, but in a minute we'll pivot to pop culture. I was explaining what happened to me in my dynasty league, but I wanted to just quickly, I was filling space, but I wanted to give people a little bit of fantasy stuff. So in my league, I was 0-5, and let's treat this like a cheesy bear episode. Okay, it's just me and you. So, anyways, I was 0-5, won 7 in a row, made it 7-5, and I really want to still do a dynasty league with you as well. I lost the last 2, and with that Jacobs trade, where and I'm still mad at myself, I did it. I gave him up for a first, a second, 2 fourths, and Amari Cooper for Jacobs and a 6 straight up. and I lost on the point breaker tie by 5 points. So I would have made it. It's a bummer.
I
But
told you should have probably kept them, but you're building for the future.
I should have done it. I wanted to get picks back in the Akane trade, so I
Mhm.
landed Akane in another trade. So I could give you all 6. I don't really want to. I think that'd be a boring show, but I was sad I missed it. So I missed it in my work league. I missed it in that league. We were in the same guillotine. I missed it. But my other 2 leagues, the one player that I have in both leagues other than Hawkinson is Saquon Barkley.
Mhm.
And I'm 8-6 in a non-PPR league. My team's like 4th highest scoring, but it's only 5 away from the highest. And I was playing Brock Purdy last night, and I was saying how I told a coworker to start him, and then he had 4 fantasy points.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
no,
played George Kittle, who only had 6. So I'm in really good shape.
yeah, with Eliminator, I actually picked the Rams last night, so
That's a bummer.
I'm in the clear for this weekend, and
You picked the Rams. Oh well, yeah, then you're set.
too. And everyone else at work, and I mean, a ton of people probably will do this. They went with the Ravens. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, it's the Giants they're playing, but if there's any team that I am a huge fan of right now, I'll be pulling for the Giants for the rest because it'll eliminate like so many people. So I'd be all for that. There's only like 2 people that picked outside of Ravens, and you're looking at 50% of it. So
Oh, I get it. So I was 10-4 in my other league. How are you doing in your other fantasy leagues? And then I got a pop culture thing I want to toss you.
the one with my co-host Seth, that one I'm just ruining other people's seasons by keeping them out out the playoffs if I beat them. But the other one, the Lumber League, which is the one at my work, I backed into the 6th seed, so I barely made it, but I'm there first season, and we'll see what happens. But I'm doing all right.
That's not bad, dude. Not bad at all. Good stuff, man. Jason, thanks for watching, dude. If you want to join in later, let me know. I'll send you the link. Okay, so here's my pop culture question, and then I think we should hit these games. And I got some other fun questions for you, but we'll hit a game, and then I got a few fun questions. And if you got stuff, throw it back. But here's my pop culture question. What's your favorite DC movie and why? For me, it's Dark Knight, but Dark Knight Rises is right there. I really love Bane. My only complaint is that I really didn't like the whole stupid thing with Talia at the end, how she undermined him. Although it kind of like me and my wife, I love that we had these nerd conversations. Me and my wife actually talked about this like a couple days ago, and we were like, it kind of fed the dude's need for attention that he had. If you like diagnose it, it just sucked because I thought he was a great villain. So it was kind of a bummer. Jason, we'll hit your question in a second. Yeah. What's yours?
Well, I mean, the Batman series is really good, but I'm going to go a little bit outside the box because whenever I watch movies and stuff, superhero movies, I usually do it with my wife now. And I have no idea why, but she's a huge fan of Aquaman. And I mean,
is it Jason Momoa?
It is definitely Jason Momoa, but I mean, I actually liked the second one I was but the first one I actually did like quite a bit. I was pleasantly surprised with it because the humor that he brought into it. And so I would say Aquaman, the first one, not the second one.
Nice. I actually really like that movie. I did not watch the second one. The wife was really upset. She's a massive Johnny Depp fan, so she was angry about the whole Amber Turd thing, if you know about that. So she kind of boycotted it. Plus, I think we both would have liked it better if Emilia Clarke had been cast, because frankly, like, here's the deal. Emilia Clarke and Jason Momoa have massive chemistry from, Game of Thrones, and she's a better actress than Amber Turd. So I think it would have been a better movie. I actually skipped that one. I've skipped a lot of recent superhero movies when they didn't look great. I still haven't watched Thor: Love and Thunder yet. I need to, but I've skipped a few, and I skipped Aquaman too. It just didn't. It looked like a big drop off from the first one.
No, well, so far, I mean, there's only been 2 movies that have been in, as far as like Jason's talking about, he likes Captain America, Marvel, and the whole new Marvel. I'm trying to think of it.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
This,
Like
yeah,
Endgame.
this whole thing has been a lot different from the first one. I mean, it's brand new actors and stuff like that, but I
Mhm.
mean, it's not really hitting the mark with the Marvels or a few other shows. I mean, so far, Deadpool has been by far the best one, and even Love and Thunder. Ragnarok was by far a better movie, but it didn't really do much for me either. So
Ragnarok, man, that was fantastic.
a great surprise movie.
It really was, and it really clicked, and it was almost as good as Guardians. I didn't mind Black Panther 2, and
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi wasn't bad either.
I
And the
like
new
Shang-Chi.
Spider-Man,
That's pretty
it
much it.
wasn't Shang-Chi was really good. I actually want to watch that again. That was a really underrated movie. The new Spider-Man, it wasn't like the best thing I've ever seen, but I really enjoyed all those villains.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they'd had a little more screen time with Andrew Garfield and Toby and Tom Holland. I think it would have been a better movie for it. And if they do it again, I don't think they'll hit the mark. It'll be impossible. But it was kind of epic seeing all them together. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they've really lost their way since Endgame. They just don't know where they're going.
No.
And I don't mind the whole Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor
That's Dr.
Doom.
Doom.
The new Cap with Harrison Ford actually looks pretty freaking sick. I'm kind of excited
Mhm.
for it. So I'm hoping it's good. But I wanted to throw some pop culture at you. We've been kind of doing it on Cheesy Bear a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it. Okay, let's get into this.
All right.
Tell you what, I'll punt on the Packers. Jason's got a great question. Let's hit it. Who gets the number one pick between the Raiders or Giants? That was actually was not one I was going to ask, but it's a really good question.
So
I got to look at the remaining schedules. Honestly, I was thinking Raiders though.
no, I'd kind of slide with the Raiders too, and the main reason why is because they're just 100% worse of a mess. I mean, unfortunately, Dave DeBow might be an unfortunate casualty for what is going on in New York, and it kind of sucks because, I mean, for a coach that has, took the Giants to the playoffs a couple seasons ago, he's someone that was saddled with Daniel Jones. So if you actually had a quarterback that would probably fit his style a lot more, I mean, you're looking at Shadir Sanders and you're looking at Cam Ward. I mean, those two are going to probably be number 1 and 2 picks. But I'm thinking it's going to be the Raiders. They just suck. I mean, it's
So here's the Raiders schedule. They play Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and the Chargers. They could squeak out a win against Jacksonville. And the way Atlanta's playing, it's possible. Frankly, there's 3 winnable games there, but they're the stupid Raiders. I kind of think they're going to get 1 win out of those, though, unless they sit people. But they are pretty bad. I mean, who the hell is their quarterback?
Well, they have Desmond Ritter right now.
Oh, you're right, against Atlanta. Revenge game.
Yeah.
Revenge.
I mean,
it's in Atlanta. He doesn't lose there.
No, he don't. But also at the same time, I mean, you look at, Kirk Cousins, he's just been horrible the last 4 weeks, it feels like. I mean, he's thrown to almost 10 interceptions to like 0 touchdowns. And that's starting to look like a really bad move on the Falcons' part. I mean, I understand why they did it, but, it's a bad look right now. So
it is, man. Okay. So you are the guest of honor. Which game would you like to talk first? I'm going to go with Raiders on that question for Jason. We got the Packers, Seahawks. That's a great one. The Eagles, Steelers lost a little bit of firepower with Pickens being out. There's some good games this Sunday. I'm pretty excited. I mean, there's the primetime game of Cowboys Panthers. That's a great one. There's some meaningful ones. So you got Dolphins Texans. That's not quite up to the marquee, but I think the best 2 games of the weekend are Bills Lions and Steelers Eagles. Packers Seahawks is pretty good. Bucks Chargers is not bad either. But I think the premier game is probably the one everyone's looking at is
the Bills
Lions and Steelers Eagles.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, right now it looks like that could be a possible preview of this year's Super Bowl. I mean, you got arguably the best team in the AFC right now against the best team in the NFC. I mean, it's just one of those games that it could really swing the outcome of what's going to happen in the postseason. And it's just it's going to be a great game. But is Josh Allen going to continue on with his MVP type season that he's having? You're looking at Jared Goff, who if he has a hint of pressure, will he be able to? I mean, he grew up quite a bit this past season. I mean, he's been impressive, but he's also had games where he's thrown 5 interceptions, and it's just one of those deals where you kind of just want to see which team really has done enough. They both had swung for defenses before the trade deadline. Amari Cooper to the Bills. You look at Zadarius Smith with the Lions, and both were necessities. So it's just one of those things that I'm looking forward to it. The big matchup that I want to see that I really want to key on is you look at that offensive line for the Lions, and it feels very similar to what the Dallas Cowboys had when they had Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and everything, like the Great Wall of Dallas. And, they keep pressure off of Jared Goff. And, if the Bills can actually put up enough pressure on him, what's going to happen? Because the Bills defense is stepping up this season.
It has. They're top 10 in points. They're 14th in yards, but the top 10 against the pass. The rush leaves a little bit to be desired. They're not great at rushing the passer. They're kind of like the Packers. They're 23rd in sacks with 28. And the Lions, even with their injuries, they were able to get some pressure on Jordan Love. It skewed the game in the first half. In the second half, we were able to protect him better. But he was taking some hits, and that was one of the reasons our offense did the same old crap where it didn't show up for 30 minutes, and then it laid the smackdown down for 30, showing the potential of the Packer offense. But the Lions with Zadarius Smith, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. I hope Jason's right because I want to see the Lions lose, but I'm a little tired of all their smack talk.
Let's be real. I mean, Lions fans, it's been 20 years. I mean, handle winning a little bit better. I mean, I know you're excited. But we're looking at you. I mean, I'm a Bears fan. We've gone to 2 more Super Bowls than you have. I mean, it's been forever, but I mean, still, I mean, it is Lions fans. I don't know.
They don't know how. It sucks because I'm from Michigan, so there's a big part of me that wants to root for them. But they've been annoying, and it's kind of fun with the whole Jared Goff thing because he really has grown as a player. But when there's pressure, he still at times turns into a pumpkin. Mm-hmm. The Texans proved that when they were, still pretending to play football. I don't know what's happened to them. They've had a lot of injuries too, but so have the Lions on defense, and they've still figured out a way. Aaron Glenn needs to be, in my opinion, even before Ben Johnson as a head coaching possibility.
I love Aaron Glenn. I really think that I could see him being a huge candidate for the Raiders job I'm going to call it. I just think that Antonio Pierce is going to be gone. And it's unfortunate because we were really looking to him. He went 5-3 last year. And just saying, I just want to ask you, who's your team real quick? I wouldn't mind discussing them. Illinois. So I think a lot of us thought the Bears would have done better, but it is what it is. It's a Bears fan. My skin is thick as the concrete in downtown Chicago. I'm good.
We were talking about that on the phone earlier, and I was asking him. I was like, "What would be your?" We'll get into the Bears in a second. I want to break down this game, but I actually think the Bills have a legitimate chance. Definitely. I know their defense didn't show up against the Rams, but it has for the most part recently. They gave up 27 in Miami isn't great, but that was Miami with Tua. They gave up 21 to the Chiefs. Only they completely destroyed the 49ers. I do think if the Lions still play their A-ball, I think the Bills can win this game.
Right.
Fantasy-wise, I'd be looking for, these are some obvious ones, but I think there's a good chance. As good as the Bills' pass D is, I think Patrick and Jameson Williams could have good games. I think the Lions are going to make a concerted effort to get St. Brown going after how uninvolved he was against the Packers. Kind of like Jaden Reed, he's going to get going for the Packers. But I think for the Lions, I'd be looking for their pass game. I think the Bills are going to make a concerted effort to take away Gibbs and Montgomery. And I think that the Lions, ironically, even though the numbers say hit them in the run game, I think the Bills are going to try to force the Lions to make Jared Goff beat them. And this is his stand to make an MVP case, because if he doesn't do it now, he has a puncher's chance, but it's Josh Allen all the way. On the other hand, I think Josh Allen's going to have a hell of a game. Keon Coleman's coming back. I actually, I'm trying to take the homerism out of me. I think the Bills, even though the Lions need this game more, I think the Bills are going to win this one. I do. Sorry, I didn't mean to tap it.
Oh, you're good. I know you get excited. You're not used to having a great microphone like
it's
that. I mean,
so much fun, dude. I love it. I don't like the stand. I've learned I like to hold it.
Yeah. And, one thing for just saying sports, just real quick, your future is coming up in this draft. I mean, you're going to have either Sadir Sanders or you're going to have Cam Ward. But I mean, really and truthfully, let's be real. I think y'all, if anything, keep Dave DeBow. Give him a quarterback that can actually play the game. I mean, he had 4 years of Danny Dimes. That's like walking around in the ninth circle of hell. You just need to go ahead and just give him a decent quarterback. He's got a good defense. I predicted y'all to have a great pass rush and everything. Y'all come out on that. Get a good quarterback.
Decent too as running back. They just need not the worst freaking quarterback in the NFL. The Raiders and Giants are the Bears at least have Caleb. He looks way more promising than those two if they don't wreck them. The Raiders and Giants quarterback situations have been so abysmal. I legitimately feel bad for them. I really do. But score prediction on this game, I'm going to go Bills win. I think that even though they're locked into the 2 or 3 seed, I think they want to make a statement game win after blowing that Rams game. I think they're going to show up. I think they're going to beat the Lions, not handedly, but I think they're going to win along the lines of 34-27.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, too. I think it might potentially be just as high as what we just saw with the Rams and Bills. This could be both teams getting into the 40 points area because it just seems that way. But no, I'm going to go with I'm trying to keep the homer out of me, too. But
it's tough, right?
I mean,
I'm over the Lions.
Yeah.
My wife loves them. I love her more than anything, and she's going to be wearing Lions gear on Sunday. But I'm
well. I mean, they're freaking Patriots fans from the 2010s, and it's only because they've had 2 winning seasons in the past 20 years. I mean, come on, bro.
Get to a damn Super Bowl before you get this cocky. Jeez, they haven't even made a Super Bowl.
I understand that it was like the prison yard rules with us, and we got stuff pushed in and everything. But I mean, it's just come on, guys.
Yeah, for real. Handle it a little better.
Yeah, I mean, I would say act like you've been there before, but you're not. You never been. So I mean,
they don't know how to act like they've been there. Okay, I got one more question on this game.
Let's do this.
Which team do you think is more likely to get to the Super Bowl, Bills or Lions? Because to me, it's interesting because I'm looking at both their defenses and I'm starting to get a little concerned because the Lions have so many injuries and I don't know if they're going to hold up, and the Bills defense has been struggling. But I don't know. I think Lions, but they've never done it. But the Bills haven't done it in a long time either.
Well, I mean,
even gotten there.
Yeah, no, I mean, both. Last year, the NFC game, I mean, you definitely saw the inexperience with what the Lions did in San Francisco. They went in with a lead at halftime and they ended up losing the game. It's just your young team, still a young team. The Bills, let's be real, the Chiefs are struggling right now. I mean, it looks like they got a horseshoe shoved up their butt, and they're winning games by the skin of the ref's flag, and it's a thick skin. It just seems like there's the Bills have a little bit more going for them, but at the same time,
even though it's a tougher, is it a tough? I don't even know which road is tougher anymore. Is the AFC more difficult or is the NFC? That's what I'm kind of struggling. Who are the real contenders in each conference? We had this discussion recently. I think if the Packers get the Lions a third time, I think they actually might take them. are the Vikings good enough, and then the Eagles. That's all I can see in the NFC. I don't know if the Bucks have the defense.
Okay, well, I mean, I do have a question for you too. You just brought it up to me, and I asked in Twitter. But
Oh yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
one of the things that
Forgot
I will say about this is that you look at the AFC. There's more contenders over there. You still got the Chargers. Let's not count them out. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is their coach. You got the Chiefs, of course. I mean, you can't count out Mahomes' magic during the postseason. You've of course got the Bills. You have in the NFC, AFC South, which all of a sudden they look weak, softer than Charmin right now with the Texans, and then you
I
have
do.
the AFC North with the Steelers and Ravens. I mean, those are some legit teams that have a say in what might be happening in the postseason. And then when you look over to NFC, the only real threat there, but there's a couple threats. I mean, they barely beat the Packers. Y'all fought them really well. They barely beat the Bears. I mean, it took Eberflus not learning how to call timeouts and then eventually his job for them to beat the Bears
That
on
was
Thanksgiving.
terrible. That was terrible. I was
It was,
yelling at the TV. I was like, "Bro, what are you doing?"
oh, dude, I've been yelling at the TV for 3 solid years now.
I'm sorry. Lovey Smith was way better than this. You guys have had better. I've seen you have better coaches.
Oh
Lovey
no!
Smith was a far better coach than this.
Oh no, dude! Saint
Miles,
Lovey,
miles better than this.
Saint
This
Lovey, of course.
I could game manage better than this loser. That was easy. You don't let the rookie throw the game away.
No,
It's
go ahead
not
and call that timeout.
rocket freaking science, man. Like I didn't want to clown the Bears. That was just stupid. But you made a good point. They barely snuck by both NFC North teams. I know they're still winning.
And you still have the Eagles.
Do you think the Eagles pass attack is going to figure this out in time? Because like the rest of that team looks pretty damn good to me. That defense is way better than the Packers or the Lions. They got Saquon. The offensive line's doing good enough, but Hurts, like when your receivers are like going out there, since this segues into Eagles right now, anyways. We're gonna Eagles Steelers now. Hurts has regressed. I don't know if it might be enough to hold them out of a Super Bowl. The rest of that team is damn solid though. I don't know. They can't even throw. They barely. What do you have? 110 yards against the Panthers?
The Panthers they're low key. Their defense is actually pretty decent.
Actually, they were sneaky good last year. They were like the Titans. They sucked at points because the offense left them in shit spots. This is my Facebook, but as long as we don't drop a bunch of F-bombs, it's fine. Whatever.
I mean, I'm over here.
The Panthers' defense was solid last year. Their offenses sucked, but it's been kind of fun watching them. They're a good bad team now. They're not good, but they're not terrible anymore. It's kind of fun. They're favored against the Cowboys. That says something.
Well, I mean, thank God Bryce Young is he's starting to show what the reason why he was picked number one. I mean, it was a bad look mainly because no one expected CJ Stroud to do what he did his rookie year, and then you're looking at it, it's kind of like roles got reversed, and it's just
body swap. Was it like Freaky Friday?
Oh, dude, it is. It is. There's another pop culture reference right there. But going back to the Eagles, I mean, I think it's really just the play style that they had. Let's be real. I mean, Jalen Hurts, if you keep doing the tush push, he's getting beat up unnecessarily. I mean, do you really need to get that?
I kept in my dynasty. I think I should have kept Baker, but it was hard to pass up on Hurts. He'd get so many rushing TDs, but that offense, I mean, dude, if you can believe this, they are 31st in pass yards right now in the NFL.
Really?
They're at 180.6. The Steelers are a better passing attack than they are.
Well, I mean, Russell Wilson, and this is one of the things why I liked what the Steelers did, and is that Russell Wilson, the way that he is playing right now, it reminds you a lot of what he did in Seattle before all the crap went down. And, he has a team that is built very similar. He's got the Super Bowl defense. He's got a Super Bowl running game. He's got the passing game. I mean, you're looking at Kersey and who was it? Baldwin, when they were going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Doug Baldwin. He was fun.
Yeah. I mean, they're not same exact thing. He had Lynch and he had a great defense with a good run game. I mean, or great run game. But I mean, it's a very similar thing. And now all he has to do is just do what he did, which was hit the big play. And he's got the big target with George Pickens and Fairmouth. So after
True
that,
story.
he doesn't have anything, because it's ironic that his third and fourth leading receivers on that team are the running backs with Warren and Harris.
Good point. The Steelers are an interesting team to me because I think they're in a little bit of trouble if they without Pickens. I don't know if they're going to be able to push the ball down the field, but yeah, the Eagles are sixth in yards because they actually are getting more yards on the ground at 190.5 versus 180.6 passing. They're actually running for more yards than they're passing. So they're sixth in yards, but they're 31st in passing. And to me, there's almost no excuse for Jalen Hurts. You got AJ Brown, you got Devonta Smith, you got Dallas Goedert. You got Saquon out of the backfield. I know they're leaning on the run, but you need a little bit more of your passing game with the defense. Shockingly, the defense is first in yards against right now, second in points. Everything else is around you is perfect, dude. You got the best running attack. You got one of the best defense in the league. You got weapons. Your offensive line is improving. I mean, the coach, I have a lot of questions about, and there's some good comments I want to hit in a second. But while we're on the Eagle team, because it's my wife's other team, she likes the Lions and the Eagles.
Bandwagon. No.
Shit, you're not a bandwagon babe. You're not. I don't know. Here's my question is Hurts going to hold that team back? Like, I've questioned if Jared Goff would hold the Lions back or Dan Campbell. I think this team has more than enough punch to beat the Lions, even without their passing attack going. But that's something they probably will need to win a Super Bowl.
No, you definitely need balance. I mean, when you're looking at, you're talking about stats and everything. I mean, Vic Fangino, who is the new defensive coordinator, that, basically they hit a reset button after last season. Both the coordinators, they weren't that great, and they brought in Kellen Moore, who was of Dallas Cowboy fame, but now he's with the Eagles, which I didn't even know that until I actually read up on it. But I mean,
really?
Yeah. So Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator in Philly right now,
which is pretty fun because I mean, he's got toys. It's just curious even with Kellen Moore, who I think we could. I don't know how you feel about him. I think he's a pretty good offensive coordinator. Honestly,
I think he is too.
I think he's going to be a head coach, but he's great as an OC. So you got a good OC, maybe great, but at least good. Yeah, I'm looking at. I hate just staring at the quarterback, but in this case, it really does fall down on Hurts. So here's my question: this is a killer game. The Steelers need this bad. The Eagles could catch the Lions for the 1 seed. Very outside chance. Who do you think wins this game? It's in Philly. They're favored by 5.5. But the line moved a lot because of the Pickens injury. He's definitely out.
Yeah. I mean, personally,
it's
hard to go. It's hard to go against Philly. The only thing that I have to say is that, when you're talking about Philly and everything, and this is something I brought up many, many times already, is that when they went to the Super Bowl, just 2 years ago, they had 5 guys that had double-digit sacks. And last year, they struggled a lot because they weren't able to actually put pressure on the quarterback. This year, a little bit different. Jalen Carter doing really good. Josh Sweat is actually leading the team with 7 sacks. They're actually putting pressure on them. And I mean, Cooper DeJean, who you should have picked up as the Packers, instead y'all.
I know. Like, if Rick's watching, that would have been the perfect pick for us. Oh my gosh, we swung and missed, dude. Jordan Morgan was not it.
And then you got Quinyon Mitchell, that is
so good too,
killing it too. I mean, they nailed it.
Mitchell might be defensive rookie of the year, and DeJean has been almost as good. This defense is freaking loaded now.
Oh, that pop that DeJean put on
there. Yeah, that was good.
That game, that was a good hit. So
that was a good hit.
I kind of see I just because of the injury to
differences here.
to Carl Pickens, the fact that he's not going to be playing, that's
George
where I'm
Pickens.
actually going.
Yeah.
Yeah, George Pickens. Sorry. I'm going to have to go with the Eagles on that one. And
I,
it'll be a low scoring game, possibly 23-20.
I'm going to say this, though. They better bring their A game. The game that I know the Panthers are sneaky good, but they better play better against they did in the Panthers. And Jalen Hurts is going to have to do more than 100 yards because this Steeler front, it's not the one to toy with. They're fourth in rush. If there's one run D that could slow down Saquon, this is probably it. They're pretty loaded up front, the Steelers' D is. Like you nailed it earlier, Russ has got a lot of weapons around him, too. That offense lacks a little bit of punch, but it's starting to bring it. The rushing attack is top 10. They can run the ball themselves. I think this is gonna be a low scoring game. I think whoever gets 24 first is gonna win. The over under is 43. It's not incredibly low, but I think it's gonna be a tough one. I think Russ will keep them in it. I think the Steelers win. The Eagles win 24-20. I don't think anybody gets to 30. I haven't looked at the weather. We got some good comments. Just saying sports said Steelers. Jason said 28-20. He's got some good questions for us.
Okay.
Earlier, Justin said this. I like this. The NFC is surging to make the case of the better conference, even if it takes another year or two to get there. Because, frankly, the Packers still need to get that defense figured out. The Vikings might have landed on their quarterback with Darnold, or they'll move to JJ, but they've got some weapons, and that defense is improving. The Eagles just reloaded their D, so they're coming. If the Bucks can get the defensive side of the ball, they could be a contender again with Baker, honestly. And then you obviously have the Lions. So the NFC might actually already be better than the AFC. It's getting close.
Well, you can also put the Rams into that conversation too. I mean, they're a hot team right now, and I mean, what they need to do is they need to find a heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's 36 years old. His arm is still, it's looking live right now.
Got an arm, man. He can sling it.
Yeah, but how long can he sling it? That's the only problem. His last couple of years, he's been having some arm issues. So,
yes.
Go ahead. If I was the Rams, I'd go ahead and you're probably going to get a mid to late first round pick because I could see them making the playoffs. In fact, they should. I mean, they're 8-6. They might even take the division. So
that's probably their way in. Although the Commanders are making this interesting.
Yeah, no, and I mean, there's another team right there. I mean, the future is going to look pretty chaotic for the NFC in the near future. So.
Especially if they can get some more quarterbacks, because that's where the AFC has had them beat. But if Jordan Love can improve, if Jaden Daniels is it, if Caleb can improve, the Bears can improve the situation around him. You've got Baker. You still have Stafford. The NFC is starting to catch up in that regard too. This was an interesting one by Jason. He had a couple. St. Brown said he would rather play the Vikings instead of the Packers in the playoffs because he knows that the Packers would beat them. I mean, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we could have easily. But when I watched that game, I didn't want to go into it too much, but I looked at my team as we're missing a piece where we could steal one in the playoffs, but likely our defense is going to hold us back. And Love, I want to see some small improvement. Well, solid improvement, but he's shown that over the last month. I want to see it continue. But I feel like our defense is lacking punch in the pass rush and depth at corner. That's going to be our Achilles heel. And the Lions exploited it. When Tim Patrick's beating you, you've got a problem. And he did. Because we just don't have the depth at corner. So their second and third receivers, it wasn't St. Brown till late. It was their second and third receivers in Laporta that killed us because we can't cover those guys. So that's what we got to get better at D. You can't play around with it. The Eagles are really good because of their defense. The Lions are as well. Steelers, that's keeping them in games. We got to get better. Our defense is mid-tier. We got to get to top back. We win in Super Bowls when we had the best defense in the NFL. We got to get back there. It's this 15th, 16th baloney 20s is unacceptable. We got to get elite talent on defense. We don't have it. I've been telling Packers fans this for a year now. It's we don't have the talent on defense. McKinney is great. Jair, when he plays, is great, but that's a big if. So that's my Packer rant. We'll hit more on them in a minute. But speaking of Packers, this one was interesting. Did you hear about this Devondre Campbell thing where he just left in the third quarter?
Yeah, no, I was just reading about it. It's crazy that, I mean, personally, I've had players not really quit on me in the middle of a game like that. That's just one of those things where it was like there's no reason for it. I mean, you're getting paid a pretty healthy wage to play a game that we idolize as regular people. You know, if we had the talent, would we do it? Yeah, we definitely would. It'd pay me a couple $1 million, but no, this is prototypical right here with the way that some teams are. I mean, I understand it's been a frustrating season for you, but with the 49ers especially, I mean, they've been dealing. I mean, they have the deepest IR bench in the league right now, and they have like I think 15 people that were on IR just recently.
Mm-hmm.
Their season looked washed. Frustrating. I get it,
It
but
did.
you can't quit on your teammates like that.
No,
And, I
they're never
mean,
going to trust you again.
yeah. No, remember when I'm trying to remember. It was Bill. He quit when he was a Bill, and I remember they were talking about it. And it was when the Bills still weren't that good. I want to say it was a really good cornerback, and they said, it was halftime. They're getting smoked. I think it was like 21-0. I can't remember who it was that they were playing against, but they said that he looked over at him, and he was a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback. And he was like, "Yeah, you know what? I think I'm done." And they're like, "Yeah, man, I get it." They're thinking that he was meaning it towards the end of the year, after the season was over, and he legit retired.
Vontae Davis.
Vontae Davis, thank you.
I had to Google it, and I didn't know it. I had to Google that, people.
Yeah. No, he retired.
Yeah, the Vontae Davis one. It took me a minute. I was like, I remember this. I don't remember the name. He was a hell of a player too. Vontae Davis was awesome in his prime. So was Campbell. But I watched this last year. He looked slow last year, and I thought it was lack of effort but he's only like 30. So I was like, is he just slowing down? I was watching him look slow and lacking effort at times, what it looked like to me. But, I don't know, man. Like, you just can't do that. You're making too much money.
Well,
and he's a backup now, so deal with it, or don't, or just retire.
Well, then, and that's one of the things that unfortunately, as a former athlete, athletes die twice. It's a cliche thing that people actually say. You have, of course, your original death, but the one thing that happens before that actually happens, if you're an athlete, is you start to realize you can't do the things that you used to be able to do. And like I said, it's mounting frustration. The fact that, trust me, the San Francisco 49ers wish Greenlaw was on that field. But, he was having some issues with his Achilles. But, it's just one of those things. It's frustrating. And, you're not necessarily playing the way that you feel like you should. You get older, the injuries pile up. And,
oh, yeah, man. I mean, like, I get hurt working out at the gym now sometimes.
Oh, I pulled a muscle stretching on my 41st birthday. First thing I did, I went to stretch and I pulled the muscle. I was like, Jesus, man, what is up with this?
I'm like, I have to be careful with the way I lift now. I was my wife she was like stirring last night and couldn't sleep, and she's been in a lot of pain. And I woke up this morning tired, and I went to bed at like 9:30. I was like, why am I tired? And then she's like, I woke up a bunch. I was like, oh, okay. That makes more sense. I thought I was just old, and I'm a teacher in December. But the stretching and pulling the muscle, man, that must. I'm sorry, dude. That sucks. Mm-hmm. Seriously, it does. Yeah.
We actually have a fantasy question too from Brad.
Yeah, let's hit that before the Packer ones.
Yeah.
No, hey, no more birthdays stretching. Don't pull any more muscles until.
No, I'm almost 44. I quit doing that.
There you go. Okay, so this is a good one. Should he start Charbonnet or Jonathan Taylor? Let me look.
I will go and let you know. I'll go with a sip of Chardonnay on this one.
Well, here's the question: is Kenneth Walker back?
It's the Packers defense, and you're talking about Jonathan Taylor going up against the Denver Broncos.
Hey. My Runty is ninth in the NFL. It's not like a complete slouch. We suck against the pass this year, actually. No, I'm actually worried about their running attack too. I think I think if the Packers are going to win this game, they need to hit the ground. The Seahawks are actually really bad at running the ball, though.
Charbonnet, though, had a very good game
But
this
he
past
did.
week.
But he
And
did.
I think I think Kevin Walker has kind of had a disappointing year so far this year. I
Yeah.
mean, he's always dealing with injuries, it feels like, and there's a reason why they drafted Zach. I liked him when he was at UCLA. I figured that he would get a little bit more run than what he did last year, but this year it looks like he will be. Kevin Walker, he's a stud, but give me some Chardonnay on this one between those two. I'm not really big on Jonathan.
Jason with the unbias.
Yeah.
I would go Charbonnet too, because I'm looking at that Bronco run D, 6th in the NFL at home. Denver's going to want to get another win. They won 3 in a row. They're staring at a possible playoff spot here. And if they win this game, they not only put themselves at 9-5 in the driver's seat for a wild card, but they knock the Colts out and win that tiebreaker over them and maybe effectively knock the Colts out of the playoffs. If they lose this game that they desperately need in Denver, they fall to 8-6 and they lose a tiebreaker to the Colts, who will jump to 7-7 and actually have an outside chance to catch the Texans for the AFC South, something people aren't thinking about because they just think the Texans are going to walk into it. But the way they've been playing, you called it Sharman soft. I wasn't going to preview Colts Broncos, but yeah, I would go Charbonnet because I'm worried that Colts. I don't know where they're going to get points. They can't throw the ball either, but they're going to have to lean on the running game. That's not the way to hit the Broncos D at all. They're elite. I would stay away from starting Taylor unless you're desperate. But I'll tell you this: if Kenneth Walker is definitely playing, Charbonnet is probably not getting 25 touches again. But after last week, you would assume he earned himself some more.
Mm-hmm.
He went off. What the heck? The Bears took Jonathan Ford from the Packers practice squad this week. You guys are taking guys off our practice squad?
Gearing up for that week 18 matchup.
There you go. Okay. For Jason, he's waited 47 minutes. Let's hit the Packer game.
Okay.
It's a good one, too. If you want to hit Bears after, we can. I just kind of thought you'd want to not talk about them, but it's your call. Okay, so the Packers play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. They're favored by 2.5. The Packers are, which is a little cocky of Vegas, but this is a tough one. The Seahawks are 8-5. They need to win this game. I think they slide into a tie with the Rams. If they lose, it's in Seattle. You're looking at two defenses that are not terrible. Seahawks are points-wise are not bad. The yardage-wise, they're good. Against the pass, they're struggling against the run. I think that's how we're going to attack them. I'd be looking for Josh Jacobs to do it. Oh, Walker's out. Then, yeah, I'd be certain Charbonnet. This is probably the homer in me, but I think the Packers, after that Lions loss, are going to play pissed off. They need to get one frickin' statement win of the season. They've only beaten one team with a winning record. I'm a little concerned about all the Seahawks toys, but I think the Packers actually pulled this one out. I think mostly because they're going to be pissed off. They lost to that Lions team that they could have beat. What are you thinking? I don't know. The Seahawks, though, have been rolling. They've won 4 straight. They beat the Cardinals twice. Jets, 49ers. We had won 3 in a row before the Lion game.
Well, the reason why they won 4 games in a row is because they really haven't played anyone. I mean, you just
said the Cardinals are not that good of a team.
And one of the big things that I talk about is I'm not a huge fan of Geno Smith. I think that he puts other teams, whoever's playing against Seattle, they have a chance as long as Geno Smith is under center. I mean, he's thrown 14 touchdowns, but he's thrown 12 interceptions too. He's not a great quarterback. I mean, he's I think in the top 5 in passing yards, but if you're flinging it 20
picks,
how many times? Yeah, no, he's hard.
People say Love's had a bad season. He has 21 TDs, 11 picks, and he's missed 3 games. 2.5.
No, that's the key to me is which Geno Smith are you going to get? You're going to get the one that throws 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. I mean, He's not. He's definitely one of the worst starting quarterbacks, and that's I just think that Seattle just needs to go ahead.
Yardage wise, they eat up yards though, and they've got two weapons in the passing game.
Mhm.
But I still don't see them as having running back. Walker sucked this year, man. He's only got 3.7 yards per carry. Charbonnet's at 4.1. He's actually already almost about to catch him. He has another good game or two. He'll catch him pretty quick. They kind of suck. They can't really run the ball. I don't really believe this team. Like, I think if the Packers beat them, I'm being honest here. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I think we're a better team than they are. I think
Oh,
we
you
should beat
are.
them. We
No,
should
you
beat them.
should. You
We
should.
should beat them. If we lose this game, I'm gonna be a little pissed. 80% of the odds of the people on MGM are picking us. Alexander is supposed to be back. He should be back. I hope. He'd practiced today, so I'm hoping he's back. He never plays, so it's time to finally play a football game this season. I really don't like. I don't believe in this team. Like, they look like a team that would make the playoffs, and if they played us or Minnesota, they'd get destroyed unless we played like crap.
And that's the thing about them is that the next 4 games they are playing the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, and then the Rams. So
Ooh,
I think that
three out of four losses.
I think that's 4 losses right there. I mean, it depends with the Bears, but you're staring at 3 right there, and
Well, take the division.
the they're a team that it's just you kind of scratch your head at because you see of course the Leonard Williams pick where he picked off Aaron Rodgers and ran it back for a touchdown for a NFL record. That's all good and gravy, but really and truthfully, your team struggled throughout the whole time. You barely beat a really weak Jets team, and
the Packers have got an elite secondary, even though they suck at the pass deep when Alexander's out. But Nixon's solid. They got McKinney. Wait, what is he saying? Number one at ways. Oh, takeaways. Takeaways. I don't know if we're first anymore. We're 8th in interceptions. I'm not looking at takeaways right now, but I know that's been something we've done well. I think that's going to be the Packers formula to get on a hot run here. And like Jason's hoping, and a lot of Packers fans are, hoping we can play spoiler in the playoffs. It needs to kick off this week. I'm looking for a statement win. I'm hoping we win by double digits here. I'm with you, dude. Gino is one of those guys who racks up yards, can't rack up TDs, doesn't rack up a lot of wins. And the thing that sucks for a lot of people is they look at raw stats when they think of these extensions. But I wish these GMs would look at just kind of eyeball this thing, man. Is Gino somebody you want being your quarterback for the next 4 seasons? Now, he's miles better than a Daniel Jones or a Tommy DeVito. But is that somebody you really want to start for 4 more years for you? Because he's my backup in fantasy. And the only reason he's my backup in fantasy is because he's not a terrible fantasy quarterback because he racks up yards. Jair's out. We're going to get to your comment in a minute. It's time for him to be out of Green Bay. I'm over this dude. Anyways, Ned, would you sign the guy long term? Because I've been hearing rumors about this, and it kind of gets me like, I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? Like Baker, sign me up. Gino, no.
2 different quarterbacks. Baker, he's someone that can actually carry
a team. A little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Baker guy. But Gino, I mean, I look at what players have done before. Yeah, he had a great season last year. Yeah, you want to sit there and you want to say he turned the corner. Gino didn't have a great season last year. It's the year before that he had a great year. And, you look at, what he did up in the New York Jets. I mean, yeah, it's the Jets, but I mean, keep an eye on what they did before they came to your squad.
He had more than 20 TDs more than once in a season. He had 20 last year in 15 games. He had 30 the year before. With the Jets, he never even had more TDs than interceptions in a full season until he went to Seattle. And last year wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
At all.
He was actually out of the NFL for I think a year before he came back with the Seattle Seahawks. So
2019. Yep.
It's just one of those things where he's not that great. And you're good if you're in the NFL. Even Ryan Leaf was good. We they're horrible. But I mean,
no, you're right. I mean, we talk about these guys, but like like I had an NBA thing for you too, but like any of these dudes who can make a professional sport, we're guys on our in our bedrooms or studies, or I'm living with family. We're sitting here talking about these NFL players. If I ever had one on, I wouldn't fanboy it, but to make that high of any kind of league to go professional, you've got to be
It's an accomplishment.
what in the top 0.0001%. So Geno Smith is a great quarterback, but in the NFL, he's a notch below like even what Jared Goff and Baker are in their systems. He's not even close to them. We're starting to talk about, would you rather have Kyler Murray, who falls off every season in the second half, or would you rather have Geno Smith?
I rather have Kyler Murray. I mean, it's
I would
just
too.
like I said, I just never really been a Geno Smith guy. I don't understand. I understand why they re-signed him, and yes, it was a franchise-friendly contract when they signed 2 years ago. Next year would be his last year with that contract, but I just no, I'm just not really feeling him, and I wasn't feeling him when he went to Seattle. I wasn't feeling him when he was having a great season. I mean, I kind of figured that he was going to flame out by the playoffs, and he did. I mean, the
You
first
could give me Dak Prescott over Geno Smith. You could give me Dak Prescott.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about at 60 mil, but if if all things were equal and you're telling me you're going to plug a quarterback into either situation for the same price, I'd take Dak for the same price.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 3 years younger. Geno's 34.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Dak guy either, but he's got a bigger arm and he's made more happen, and he's actually gotten to the playoffs and won a couple games. So, not a big fan of him either. I think he wilts, but at least he most seasons gets further. The Cowboys are really bereft of talent this year, but that's a whole other story for another day.
Yeah,
we've talked so much Cowboys this year. Okay, really quick last Packer thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to go much further with them, but this is a good question. You know all about Joe Alexander, I know, because you're a Bears fan.
Mm-hmm.
Immensely talented player. I need to look at how many games this guy's actually missed because I think we talked to him on the phone earlier too. Would you cut bait or would you give this guy one more chance beyond the season? He's not that old, but he's missed a lot of time. He is out again this week. Freaking again. I thought he was playing. I'm kind of pissed. I thought this guy was going to play. We really need him. He's huge for us. He has missed in 2021. He missed 12 games. He missed 3 his rookie year, and then he only missed 1 the next 2 seasons. So 3 mostly healthy seasons. Missed 12 games, played all of them. Missed 10 games last year, and this year he's only played 7 out of what? How many games are we at? Is that half our games? 9 and 4? Yeah, this will be half of the games he missed this year. I'm kind of getting to the point I'm over this dude. Like, he's never available.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because he's so talented. It's tough to cut bait on that at only age 27. But availability is it's the best ability. And he's never available. I want guys who are available. We're going to be any kind of contender. We've got to have guys that Watson concerns me too, but he's a little bit younger. I'd give him maybe a little bit more time. I think it might be time to move on. What do you think?
This is a similar question. I mean, I actually posted an NBA question where should the Sixers move on from Joel Embiid? And, it gets to the point where you get a little nostalgic with players that, it's like the best of times, the worst of times, you're comfortable with what you got. But no, Jair has been hurt frequently. And it gets to a point where, you look at how much money you got wrapped up into him. I think he is in the top 5 with salaries as far as cornerbacks go. And I mean, you can probably genesis him for
he was suspended last year too.
Yeah. So I mean that right there is also something where I'm like, okay, bro. But I mean, go ahead. If I was the Packers and just if I was actually a GM or something like that, I would actually pursue possibly trading them away to, not anyone into the NFC, but look at some of the AFC teams that are looking for a cornerback, grab a couple picks, and then hope for the best in the draft. he's just hurt too much, and that will actually influence what you get back. But yeah, no, I definitely understand why you would.
I'm just over this not being healthy thing. It's killing the team. Watson's been the same deal. Quit slouching. What? I'm not slouching. What you talking about? Pitts or Friarmouth this week if Joku doesn't play. That's tough. Let me look at the matchups. Friarmouth plays Phillies D. That's a tough one. And Atlanta plays the Raiders. Ooh.
Well,
based on matchup,
if just based on just what he just said, I would go with Pitts on that one. And as far as Connor or Evans, if you're talking about Mike Evans, the Bucks, I'm trying to remember who they're playing.
Tampa is playing. I got all the matchups here. Hold on. Tampa's playing. Pitts doesn't exist. That's hilarious. That was my mentality before the season, but he's had some good games finally. Tampa plays the Chargers.
In that case, I would probably go with
Arizona plays New England.
I'd definitely go with Connor on that one then.
I'm gonna go Connor and Pitts just based on matchups. Quit slouching. I am slouching. It's Friday night. I'm a teacher. It's December. I'm tired. I don't even know if I'm gonna play Call of Duty after this. That's how tired I am. But this has been a blast. Okay, I got a couple more for you, bud. And if you got some, chuck them back, okay? What has been in the spirit of Christmas, what has been your biggest gift outside of the Bears? So I could give you my quick Packer one, but I want to think outside of our two teams. Mm-hmm. What has been your biggest gift you've received as a fan this season? It could be a new player to a new team. It could be just a surprise team that's been great. Something you've noticed watching the NFL this year. What's been your favorite thing outside of the Bears? I'll say outside my Packers. Mine would be McKinney for the Packers, and Jacobs. But I got another one outside of my Packers.
Go ahead and share yours real quick because I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of a player and then I'm thinking of a team, so I'm just going through it with my head right now.
This is a sentimental one. I got Saquon because he's carried me to 2 playoffs. I love it with the Eagles, and I think it's just been like unleashed. Like Derrick Henry has been great with Baltimore, but Saquon's been better than people could have even imagined. I think it's what they imagined when this dude was drafted, and as a rookie, you saw the potential. But he's just looked reborn with the Eagles. It's been amazing. But a sentimental one for you. The Broncos being good again. My aunt died, and she was a huge Broncos fan, so now they've become kind of my low-key second team. And Bo Nix with Sean Payton and that defense have been fun to watch. I've tried to catch as much of them as I can. It hasn't been enough. Next year, I'm hoping, to be honest with you, I'm hoping with whatever earnings we get to get Sunday ticket and split it with you. If we make any money off this thing, which I'm hoping we can make a little bit. But the Broncos with Bo Nix have been a pleasant surprise. That one game in the retro uniforms gave me a little bit of shades of John Elway. It was fun. I think they've got their franchise QB, and they've got a hell of a defense. If they can get some more weapons around this kid, that AFC West is going to be special outside the Raiders for years to come. Outside the Raiders.
So the way
the Chargers look legit too. If they can get some weapons, toys for Herbert, Harbaugh's already built the team he wanted.
Yeah,
he's done it quickly too.
And that's one of the things that I'm not really surprised about is the defense was really good, and they had Khalil Mack, they had Bosa on the outside, the Derwin James as a safety. I mean, they had a legit team. They just had a crappy coach, and I had a feeling that Jim Harbaugh
makes Eberflus look good.
Yeah. Oof, Stanley. But the two that I actually like, one will actually shock you. One's about to will probably hurt Mr. First Down real quick is Derrick Henry. I like the fact that when he went to the Baltimore Ravens, a lot of people, were figuring that he was washed up with what happened over at Tennessee. And I felt like, and I think I called it on Cheesy Bear, the show that we have together, that I think that Derrick Henry was going to have a surprise season. I think that he was going to rebound from what he had this past couple seasons. He was beat up. I mean, this year, the onus is not just on him. And I mean, he's responded with a really great season. As far as a team, pleasant surprise, and this is weird for me to say this, but I have to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, I really liked
That's a
what
good one. That's a good
Sam
one.
I really like what Sam Darnold has been able to do. It's kind of hard not to root against a guy. Yeah, he's in our division with us, and it kind of sucks at the same time. But I mean,
I know. I'm tired of
no,
looking up at more than one team. It's getting a little annoying.
the Denver Broncos, I like that pick too because I didn't expect Bo Nix to do what he's done, but we really did not see the Vikings get putting it all together like they did, especially when they had to make the switch back to Darnold.
Okay, so I got one for you. I posted this on Twitter, and I meant it actually. I'm not sure if it's true. I still think the ceiling of Love is higher. But who do you think is better this season, Darnold, Sam Darnold, or Jordan Love? Jason's gonna freaking hate this. I think Darnold's actually had a better season statistically. You can
Oh,
look at it.
statistically, yeah.
I still worry about the dude under pressure. He changes. Shelby
Mhm.
brought that up, and I still lean Love, but he's overcome some injuries this year. Darnold has a far better supporting cast. I still think the Packers could use another weapon. They need somebody to develop. Jaden Reed looks good, but Dubs has been injured. Wicks has not really panned, and Watson has flashed some massive, awesome potential, but he's been banged up. We really could use a legit number one. I still think it's a weakness on our roster that we could. We still have toys. It'd just be nice because when you're looking at the Vikings, you got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones and now T.J. Hawkinson. That's just stupid.
It's sickening. I mean,
It really is. That's just
I
not
mean,
fair. It's
yeah.
not.
But at the same time, I mean, you saw the one game where, when JJ McCarthy in the preseason, I mean, he looked good. And, he looked great. You're sitting there like, okay, well, maybe they got their quarterback, and then he gets put on season-ending IR, and you're like, ooh,
Quickly. You're
you
like,
know,
maybe they don't.
yeah. And then they go to Darnold, and he just lights it up. I mean, yeah, he has the great cast. And one of the things I asked on Twitter, and we can go ahead and get your reaction to it, and I know what you said on Twitter is, if you were Sam Darnold, would you re-sign with the Minnesota Vikings after this season's up, knowing that you would possibly be the backup again?
Well, no, I would sign where I can get a starting job, and that's my question. So my answer would be no, unless I'm guaranteed the starting job. As great as the supporting cast is, and people forget, Kevin O'Connell might be as good of a coach as LaFleur. He's legit. The reason the NFC North is awesome, because if the Bears get their coach, that's the only thing they're lacking. The Lions have got their coach, the Packers have their coach, and O'Connell has really done a freaking good job in Minnesota, man.
Oh, he's
they
my
didn't go through a rebuild. Is he the coach of the year?
he is my pick for coach of the year.
If they finish, especially if they actually win the NFC North, or if they finish with a 13 or better win, like 13 or 14 wins, I think he has to be, right? Nobody expected this. Nobody.
No, it's one of those things
where be the bottom of the NFC North.
Yeah, no, I picked them to be fourth. But I mean, yeah, no, Kevin O'Connell is by far, in my opinion, the number one candidate for coach of the year.
So here's my question back to you then for that same thing. If you're the Vikings, would you give the keys to JJ next year, or would you keep? I know it's probably going to depend on what happens these last 4 games in the postseason, so this might be too early. But would you give Sam Darnold the keys back again next season, or would you turn it to JJ?
If I was the Vikings and if I was Sam Darnold, and this is like a double whammy answer for you, is what I would do is I would resign him to a 2-year, $20 to $25 million contract. Let him go ahead and have the keys for another 2 seasons. Basically, do the same thing that we've been watching the Packers do for the last 20 years. Let JJ sit there and watch what he does as far as a quarterback. Let him have his fun. And in about 2 years, when that 4th year comes up with JJ, you sit there and you're like, okay, kid, go ahead. Let's see what you got. And you go ahead and let Dan, if Darnold wants to stay another year at a reduced rate from what he was making, fine. But odds are, like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, greatness is not going to sit on the bench. You want to go somewhere and compete. And, at that point, his options will be a little bit better because let's be real, the only teams that really need a quarterback are the Giants, the the Browns, and the Raiders. And I mean, me personally, if I was Sam Darnold, I'm not going to those teams because I'm going to get the crap beat out of me. So, I mean,
It's
why?
true. I mean, well, there's a few others. Like, though, those are the teams that desperately need a quarterback.
Yes.
There's a few others that we don't know if they've got it figured out. But yeah, a lot of teams think they've got their quarterback situations figured out. But one thing people forget too is Sam Darnold he's only 27.
Yeah,
He was the third pick overall. So is there going to be a little bit of Baker syndrome here? Although Baker had some success with Cleveland, but then it flamed out. Do you think people will be like talk themselves back into the Sam Darnold from a few years ago when he got drafted?
in my
That
opinion,
draft pedigree thing might kick in here too if he wins a playoff game.
the way I look at that, I mean, I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, he's going to be, trust me, Vanilla Vic is not going to be the guy in Minnesota. I mean,
Vanilla Vic. I'm gonna use that on Twitter. That's freaking great. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the thing with Baker is that this is like a satisfying thing with Baker because we see how he's doing down in Tampa Bay, and you realize it sucks for the Cleveland fans, but if there's a time where you sit there and you're like, I'm glad an organization looks so bad for a stupid decision that they made when they decided to go with Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield the year after he took them to the playoffs and gave them their first victory in the 21st century. I mean, it's like
for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, for Deshaun, let me go get a massage Watson. I mean,
man.
And
yeah,
I thought he was a good quarterback when he was there, and then of course he bounced I think 4 teams in 1 year, where he went to Carolina and then to Los Angeles, which actually got him the job. And arguably, you got to think Darnold got his job with his one stint with San Francisco. Then he went to Tampa Bay. I figured he was going to it was a perfect situation, and this is the same thing. Sam Darnold's it's a perfect situation. Baker had Goodwin and Mike Evans to throw to, and now you got Darnold, who has Addison and Jefferson, arguably the best receiving duel in the game right now.
Yeah, I think I traded Addison away a little bit too early in one of my dynasty league, but I'm still starting him in my other league, so I didn't fully give up on him. I've got him in my league. I'm in the playoffs right now. I agree with this is the unhomer in me. I still think Jordan Love has a higher ceiling. This year, Darnold's been better, but we got to remember he has a better supporting cast. The Packers could actually do Jordan Love a favor while they've got some salary cap money to play with and go spend some money at receiver this offseason or some more draft capital because I think they need another dude. Dubs and
I need a dude playing a dude that is another dude.
Playing a dude. That was a good reference. I like that. Okay, so here's my other one for you. And if I can hang out for a little bit longer, I'm having fun. If you got some questions for me. Yeah. What's your lump of coal? What's the thing that you've hated the most this season? We can do if you want to start with our team.
Short Lions fans thinking that the
God, I know, right? Actually, that might be it. The Chiefs winning is getting annoying and stupid. It's entertaining, though. It honestly is. The way they find ways to win is so freakishly weird. We're going to remember this forever, especially if they win a three-peat. But how many freaking field goal situations or last-second plays have they had? They're about to set an NFL record, and they don't even look that good. I actually think it's good for the NFL because it gives everybody somebody to root against. And to be honest, while I don't want them to win another Super Bowl, it's kind of fun going into work and be like, how did you guys, I talked to another Chiefs fan. I talked to her and I'm like, how did you win this week? It's the same deja vu conversation every week. It's kind of entertaining.
So real quick, because I didn't really answer your question, we kind of went off on another tangent as far as that goes. Jordan Love to me has a higher ceiling. And, it's a better ceiling than, the 14-3 prediction that Jason had for the Packers going into this season. And now you're 9.
How'd that work out, Jason?
That did not work out for you. You think I forgot?
He was like, you remember he keeps backtracking. He's like, I said 15-2. No. And then I said 14-3. And he's like, then I said 13-4. And he's like, we could still do that if we win the last 4 games. And I'm like,
I love Jason, but
I love
this is
Jason.
one of those things. I'm
Jason,
waiting,
we love you.
and I do like his next question. But
Yeah, I want to hit that in a minute.
my biggest lump of coal, and I kind of look at it like this: is I look at the teams that are supposed to have done something this year and did not, and I don't really look at injuries
Okay.
as big things. So I'm not. I'm going to exclude San Francisco for what's going on because they have a body count as high as Normandy during D-Day. It's just unreal. It's like one of the things that I saw was a meme where, remember the Simpsons episode where they had the trampoline and like all the kids got hurt and like the whole yard was covered with kids and stuff. And they're
I
like, this
haven't seen that one. I don't really watch a lot of Simpsons, but I've seen the meme.
the
So I
meme,
know.
yeah.
I think
This
I
is
know
San Francisco
exactly what you're talking about.
training room or whatever. I was like, that's hilarious. But lump of coal for me,
Is it an AFC team?
it is an AFC team,
I think I know
and
what it is.
I'm gonna let you.
I got two contenders that I think you're going to pick.
Okay, go. Just tell me, and I'll let you know.
Okay. If it's not the Jets, who it easily could be, I think it's, even though they're first right now, I think it's the Texans or probably the Bengals. None of them. Okay.
Yeah. No, the Jets would be a close second. I mean, I kind of, you got a 40-something-year-old quarterback that is 13-4. I love it. just keep dialing it back, man. I hope that. Don't worry, if it becomes 12-5, then I'm gonna still talk crap to you. I mean, I know that we're at what we only got like 4 or 5 wins, but you know what? I'm used to it. So, but
you get a really nice draft pick, like you said.
My lump of coal is going to go to the Raiders because they they had the unfortunateness. Now they did get Bowers in the draft, so I mean that's a coup right there. I mean, he looks like he could potentially be a top 5 tight end for the next 10, 15 years. But they didn't improve at quarterback. They brought in Gardner Minshew, who is now out. You say that you want to run it back with AOC, Aiden O'Connell. He's not. He's out now. And, do you really want to run it back with Aiden O'Connell? I would not. And
no, dude. No,
he's a solid backup, French starter, if you want to say that. But, your future is in the draft. And, I love Antonio Pierce. I love the story that he had last year. He went 5-3. He beat the Chiefs, which, helped him get his job over as a head coach there. But that team just looks horrible. And, it's just they're 2-11 going into week 15 now, or it might be 2-12. In my brain, I'm tired.
They're 2-11. They're tied for the worst record in the NFL with the Giants.
Yeah, I love Brock Bowers. And, go ahead and get you Shador or get you Cam Ward. I would slide more towards Cam Ward, but that's just me. But
yeah, might end up being better. We'll see. That's gonna be a fun debate for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, you already got Bryce Bowers. Jacoby Myers is a really good receiver, but go ahead and get Cam Ward and get you another receiver second round, and go ahead and start knocking it out. I mean, Christian Wilkins has been kind of a disappointment, but he's also been hurt since October. So, that was your big $100 million free agent. It's just been a bad season for the Raiders. I feel bad.
That's a good one. The Raiders, I didn't expect a lot. I'm going to clown on one team that, I'm sorry, Mr. First Down, if you're there. I apologize, buddy. The Jets are going to get some love in a second. But the Titans were the team that spent money like they wanted to win, but they forgot they're still starting Will Levis. Oh, wait, sorry, Mason Rudolph. Oh, wait, no, Will Levis at quarterback.
The quarterback controversy.
Do you like that? It hasn't worked out very well for them. Now, I'm not slouching now, Mr. First Down, if you're listening. They suck. The Titans are terrible, and they need a quarterback badly. They're another team that needs a quarterback. The Jags, I think, have got a problem because they just paid a quarterback that shouldn't be their starter. They're going to have that problem for a while, and somehow Doug Peterson still has a job. I don't know how. Like, I don't know how that dude has won a Super
The
Bowl.
Jags, yeah.
It's the most shocking thing of the 21st century that Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Nobody will ever understand it, but it happened. The Titans were, spent money like they were supposed to win, but the my winner is the Jets because they went and traded for Devontae Adams, and they're still 3-10.
They look even worse now.
They do.
I don't know.
Rodgers actually had 300 yards last week, and this dude. Here's the problem. I saw this on Facebook, and these Homer Packer fans, I love you, but you're annoying because Aaron Rodgers has made himself look so bad in the media and been such a dick that how do you root for this guy? Like, I'm a Packer fan. I used to have to root for Rodgers, and I was happy he left because I just don't like him as a human being. Yes, he was an extremely talented player, but the dude is washed. It's time to go retire. He's 41.
He's coming back next year, though.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think the Jets cut him?
No,
You think they're going to bring him back? God, really?
Yeah. No, if you really look at it, he looks bad because, a lot of people, they put him up on the pedestal. Like I said, he's 41 years old. He's coming off an Achilles injury. I mean, that's going to be hard enough for a quarterback to plant. I mean, look at what's going down in Atlanta,
Oh, we're going to get to
that. Two quarterbacks near 40 that have Achilles injuries. Look here, just don't throw $180 million at a quarterback just because you think he's a sexy guy from Minnesota. So,
or you could do that and draft a quarterback at number 8,
which they did. They got Michael Penix. But I mean,
why not start him then? Give him some time now. Why are you still starting Cousins? He's done.
Because
he's not gonna be what he was. Even I think, even as a quarterback, when you have an Achilles at this age, you're probably not going to get back to what you were.
No, you never will. I mean, once you hurt anything, especially on your legs, that's when your career starts to go down. I got chop blocked. So once I got chop blocked, I saw a few of my scholarships for football dry up because of it. And it's just a business. It is what it is. And unfortunately, I found out about the business in high school. And but the reason why I look at it as far as Kirk Cousins go is they still have a mathematical chance of making the playoffs with Kirk Cousins, and you got the experience. Yeah, he looks like shit right now. He's horrible right now, but you're going to take a rookie and put him in a situation where you're like, okay, kid, go out there. You got to get us in the playoffs. That's a lot of pressure you don't want to really put on him.
Yeah, that's true. He's older, though. He is 24. But true. It would just be nice to see what he had because I think we know that Kirk Cousins might pop off for a few games here and there, but he's not even going to be what he was. So that comment,
F you, Jason. F you. Okay. That would be a cold day in hell right there. Aaron Rodgers, the last thing I want to do is have someone that popped a discount double check and said, I own you on my team. So
at age 41 with Caleb there.
Yeah.
No way.
No. But he needs to stop working for Farm Bureau and go with AARP.
Getting close. He really is. All right, this is a good one. Here's the reason I didn't lead with this is because I don't even know what to make of it. Is this to segue back into the NFL in 3 years? Is this because he's power hungry and he just wants to control an organization? That's what it feels like to me. It feels like the NFL was like, hey, bud, you're great, but you're not going to be a GM and come in and do whatever you want. But the North Carolina organization, college, was like, hey, we're going to let you do whatever you want. That's kind of what it feels like to me. That's why I think he went to college. Otherwise, why do it?
I mean, his girlfriend is 21 years old.
Oh, I mean that. Oh, yeah, you can visit her all the time.
Now, I
That's true.
was going to say not only visit, but he also has so many other co-eds he could go with. But
Jesus, it's so sad but true. That guy
uh,
is something.
so with those two options,
72?
I
He's
see it more of a
72.
segue back to the NFL.
Yeah.
But what I will say with with what the question is, what do I think about Coach Bill Belichick getting hired by UNC? I mean, it's a good move for UNC, but this is also a school that just told Mac Jones to go because they felt like he was getting too old. But if you look at the age, Mac Brown was 73 and Bill Belichick's 72. So what's 1 year? And it's really just like sitting there, you talk about it, it's more of a name. It's trying to get that pop for UNC for them to become more of a national power is what they were, back in the 1990s. But I don't think it's going to work because me personally, I think that Bill Belichick, he was not a guy that was really favored by rookies. He didn't really like working with rookies. We saw it with Mac Jones. We saw it with a few other quarterbacks that he had. He relied heavily on veterans to come in and basically do it. If anything, he's going to pop the transfer portal and try to get veterans in the college ranks. He just never really was great at developing young quarterbacks or offensive skills players. That's why all the Patriots picks were either offensive linemen or defensive players. So I think he's going to struggle in the college game. The NFL and college is two big differences. And yes, I know that, college for the most part, they're sliding in with the NIL deals and it feels a lot more like free agency now. But yeah, no, I don't think he's really going to do that good. What's up, Joe?
Nice to see you, Joe. That's awesome, dude. It's good to see you, man. It's been a while.
Looking all fly in your picture.
Love it. And he says he loves you. Jason does too. Okay. No, I agree with you, man. Hey, by the way, thank you for doing this tonight. I appreciate you. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, we kind of covered the Sam
NBA?
Darnold one. Let me think.
Do you want to do that NBA thing we talked about?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to. I was going to say, do you think that the San Francisco 49ers window is shut for the Super Bowl?
He developed and then traded Matt Castle and Jimmy G. Here's my biggest concern with Belichick is he already said he doesn't want to do scouting. He hired a whole team for that. And that's so big that's why Harbaugh was successful, is he got elite talent in Michigan. You've seen the drop off this year. Even though they were still competent, they weren't the powerhouse that they were. You've got to be able to bring players in college. And with Belichick's age, if people think he's going to leave in 2 years, are people going to flock there? Sure, he'll probably get a little bit of an influx, but I don't think it's going to be like game breaking. I don't see North Carolina being 11-1 next year or something. Maybe I'm wrong. It's Bill Belichick. It's possible, but.
Well, I mean, when I think of Matt Castle, I think about his time that he spent with the Kansas City Chiefs as a starter, and then you look at Jimmy G, who I mean, they went on to be starters elsewhere, but what did they do? They weren't that great. No, I respect your answer too, but I just feel like if he didn't have Tom Brady, he would not have the success that he had. That's not even arguable. If you have someone like Tom Brady on your team, you have the ability to ignore the shortcomings that you had on offense so you could focus on your defense. That's honestly what that was the Bill Belichick Patriots way. I'm going to let Tom Brady do his thing on offense. I'm going to draft people like Julian Edelman out of Kent State, who was a quarterback back then, and make him into a receiver. I'm going to rely on my assistant coaches that haven't done squat when they go anywhere else. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I can make my defense looks great and then put offensive linemen to protect my quarterback. You look at the fact that last year when they brought in his last draft, they picked a punter and a kicker before they picked a receiver, which they really needed.
True.
So
true. They were starters elsewhere, and Jimmy G did get to a Super Bowl, but we saw his shortcomings it was a lot like Jared Goff, and Jared Goff has a lot to prove this year to prove that he can be a Super Bowl winner. Garoppolo, you saw ceiling with him. The Raiders tried it, didn't work. 49ers tried it, got to a Super Bowl. Can't take that away from him. Beat my Packers a couple times. But I don't know if that's going to work, Jason. We're going to find out. I don't know. I could be wrong. He has won 6 Super Bowls. The dude has been.
The one thing I will say about Bill is that whenever you hear the name and everything, you know what he did in the NFL. That will help him. And like Joe said earlier, they played enough to go into in New England. Yeah, no doubt. You also look at the
199. What?
199
or something? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, well, no, he's saying big tool, full PPR. Charbonnet, Rashard White, Waddle.
Bucky Irving's probably going to be out. I like the Rashard White play.
I like Waddle too.
I'm going to sit Harrison. I've already sat him. He might get my double flex spot. We can hit that in a minute, but I would start.
I would go with
Waddle over Sharp. Which ones?
I would go with Waddle and Sharp.
I'd go Waddle and White because Bucky is probably not playing again, and I think he has a really good play for the Bucs.
But going back to like what Joseph was saying, you look at the teams that he got traded to. When Matt Castle went to Kansas City, I think that their starting quarterback situation was Brody Coyle. So I mean, they really did
these quarterback names, man. They're great. And you think about how bad they were. It's some fun stuff.
Yeah,
and then Matt Castle had that 1 year at the Pats, but Bill was special because Brady had the offense figured out, like you said, and then he masterfully He was able to move his pieces around on D and effectively take away other people's players when he had an elite D. So he knew how to build an elite D and he knew how to use those guys effectively. But Brady had the offensive side figured out.
Oh, so the $1.99 thing is also a donation, by the way.
Thank you. First one. That's my first one. I shouldn't celebrate it so much, but that was kind of cool. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Shady will appreciate it.
But, Shady's gonna love you. Next year, we're gonna have a tip jar starting in January. And we're going to have tip jars where you guys can donate. And we would absolutely appreciate it. And we will put as much back into it's all going to end up going back into the show. So,
well, and one last thing about Bill Belichick, you look at some of the players he was able to get with the most ludicrous trades. It's like the rich get richer. And,
a
4th round pick for Corey Dillon, a 4th round pick for Randy Moss.
Corey Dillon, man. Remember how good he was with the Pats? He fit in so freaking well. Belichick, the thing that he needed on offense is he needed Brady to have just enough toys, but he always wanted to have a solid running game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Garrett Blunt. Look at him. He won like 18 touchdowns that one season.
It's sickening if you actually look back at how many 10,000-yard backs who went through there towards the later stages. Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor was
Corey Dillon.
He was a hell of a player.
And then you got Randy Moss, arguably not second on my list, but a top 4 receiver all time that he got for a 4th round pick. So
what is where's Randy Moss on your all-time list? Obviously Jerry Rice has got to be one, right?
Jerry Rice is one. And I would actually put Randy Moss at 3 because this is my argument, because Larry Fitzgerald had 21 different quarterbacks in his career.
True story.
And you look at what he was able to accomplish with 21 quarterbacks, where only he had like 6 years of Warner and Carson Palmer. You're talking about, yes, Warner is a Hall of Famer, but you look at what Chris Palmer is. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. He was a decent quarterback. And Chris then Palmer. It's like you got that drop off, and then you got, we're still flat. When you have players like Kevin Cobb and Matt Leinart and all of them, gross.
There's one more fancy question I want to keep on this receiver thing, though, really quick. Baker Jameis this week. Yeah, who's Cleveland playing? Cleveland is playing. Damn it. Who's Cleveland playing? Cleveland's playing KC. No.
Oh.
You know what? Who's Tampa playing? Tampa is playing the Chargers.
Ooh.
Whose past D is 8th. Give me Jameis. Actually. Okay. To answer your question, because I apologize, I am a little tired. I've got a little sidetracked, but I think we've done a pretty good show. But your 49er question, because Joe just answered it.
Yeah, I like Joe.
The championship window's closed. I think they can still make the playoffs because they're in a weak division. The Rams have a lot to figure out on defense, have an aging quarterback. The Cardinals fall off at the end of every season. And we've already talked about Geno and the Seahawks. Even though their coach, though, McDonald, that's I think who they got, right? He has done a number with Seattle. They've but better recently. I know they've beaten lesser competition, but he still has them at 8-5. That's impressive. A lot of people didn't. Some people were on Seattle. I wasn't one of them. They only are one win away from a winning season. They may not win more than one, but he's been pretty good for them. But we're looking at the 49ers. That's a weak division. They could easily come back, still win the division. But I think they're going to be a tier below the Lions, the Eagles, the Packers, the Vikings in the NFC. I don't see them challenging that crop again for a minute. They got to retool. They got some aging talent that's getting injured. Debo's pissed all the time. Ayuk, I think it was a 1-year wonder. He only had one good season, honestly. He got paid off one quality season if you go look at his stats. That was it. Debo's aging out. Kittle's already 30. McCaffrey, we don't know if he's going to come back. Purdy needs these players around him as good as he is. He is, sorry, Millie, he is not a franchise quarterback that can carry a team without weapons around him. There aren't a lot of them out there. It's really kind of an unfair thing to say about a dude, but he's just not that guy. Mahomes can do it with anybody. There are only a few guys that can. Josh Allen is special because he can do it with lesser talent around him. He was making Shakir look really good. And Shakir's not a terrible player, but those guys lift the players around them. And he's got a solid coach, but Purdy's not that guy. And I'm going to be honest, people are going to get mad at me. Shanahan's not that great of a coach. He's not. He's solid. But is he like, I think he's a little overrated. What do you call him? My favorite thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Kyle Shanahan is the Dan Marino of coaching.
Oh, and I agree with this. Campbell should just get cut. Just cut him. You're not going to the playoffs anyways. Just cut this guy. Don't even make this a story. Cut him right now. That's your story. You cut this guy. You walk out on your teammates. I'm sorry. I'm in that kind of mood. I wrote so many kids up this week. People are getting referrals left and right. I'd cut this guy.
You get an ISS, and you're getting ISS.
I'll tell you off air what the kids said. I don't want to talk about it on the air because kids are watching. It was some bad stuff. This one, they're right up against the cap. They have to pay Purdy. Debo's probably gone. Ayuk's injured. Pearsall is going to be their number one. I don't know if he's ready for it. CMC's banged up. They still have Guerrero and Mason, so they might have a solid running game, but it's not going to be as special as it was with CMC. They're going to make moves and try to last gasp this, but I don't see them going back to another Super Bowl. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think the window ain't completely closed. I think it's very damn close right now. I mean, like you said, they're just, you got to think is, each year this passes, it's another year that I'm not really surprised that Christian McCaffrey got hurt because they just ran him into the ground last year and the year before. I mean, you look at
he was banged up in Carolina so much.
Yeah.
The dude's
he had over 400 touches.
He's not Derrick Henry. Like Henry is amazingly held up.
Yeah. And I remember someone told me he said Christian McCaffrey is just soft as shit, and I was like, no, dude.
No,
I mean, he's been getting 300 plus every year, at least 5 times in a 7-year career. I mean,
that's what people need to think. Like, if you played in the NFL, could you take 3 touches without getting hurt? This dude took over 400 in a 3.5 month span. And is he even that big of a dude? He is 5'11". He's probably bulked up to 220, but he's like 210. The dude is smaller than me. I'm like 220. The dude's smaller than me. And I mean, bigger, obviously more muscular, but he's a smaller guy than I am. And he's taking punishment from dudes 40 to 90 pounds heavier.
Yeah. That's why I don't really try to
Yeah.
criticize people that
No.
are getting hurt. And but yeah, no, the dude's a game changer. He, hopefully he'll be fine next year. But no, I agree with Joseph. Raider Joe, that's how I call him. They already got Parasol. You got Debo, you got AU, so you're kind of set. Debo, if anything, I think will probably be gone next year.
I agree. I think it's time. I think he's voiced enough pissed offness. I think, unfortunately, they're going to be tied to Ayuk, and I think they're going to be pissed about it because he was sucking this year before he got hurt. And I don't think he's even that great, honestly. So, cutting him allows him to sign with it. Well, I mean, you're right. He doesn't. You could suspend him and keep him on the bench. Jason thinks they're done. As Packer fans, we obviously hope they're done. But what other ones did you have for me? I like the 49ers one. That's a good question.
Yep. Well, I mean, the other ones that I had was if there was outside being an owner for an NFL team or any sports franchise, what job would you actually want to do for a sports franchise? I could tell you Seth went with GM. I went with a scout. So what would you want to do?
I'd want to be the color or play-by-play commentator.
You would
I would love to be a GM. I think that would be my second choice. But I think calling the games
for real.
I think calling the games as like their person would be like so much fun. And I'm surprised I'm saying that answer because I think being a GM would be great, but I think it would be so much pressure. I don't know if there's a part of me that would want that job, but
so it's like Seth said,
fun.
he would like GM, but he said, some people talk about the coaching, but he was like, you're basically getting hired to get fired. And I was like, well, that's what coaching is you're there just
it's kind of same as GM too.
Yeah. So that's why I said I was like, you know what? I'll work my way up to it.
That's why I like the idea of being the color or the play-by-play guy. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if I have the voice for it. That's why I like doing this. This is fun for me.
Well, you could sit there. You could be just like Bob. And there we go again. I mean,
and there he goes again down the sideline. This is a mean question. I don't like it. Who's going to be? Hey, Peter. Okay, earmuffs. Bed. How about make the playoffs, Peter? Okay, the death team is probably gonna be Detroit, man. It's gonna be Detroit. Like we can't freaking beat this stupid team. It's so annoying. This close. I think I worry a lot more about Detroit than I do Philly, even though I think Philly is ironically stylistically a really bad matchup for Detroit. They're great on D and they can run the ball, and that's I think, frankly, with Saquon the way to attack Detroit. We proved you can kind of sling it on them if you can throw the ball down the field. The Christian Watson thing, we went down there like 3 plays in the first possession of the second half. But if you don't, but the Eagles suck at that. For some reason, they have AJ Brown. They can't throw the ball down the field. I don't understand it. But I think it's gonna be the Lions because until we can beat this team, I think we're gonna keep losing to them. So. Yeah,
I think that's your new boogeyman.
We wouldn't want to do it. No, you don't want to beat us because you can't. Okay, so I got a matchup. I know that was a dick move. Okay, I got a matchup decision for you.
Yeah,
fantasy. Okay, you ready?
Right.
So I got Dayton Daniels. I'm gonna have to start him. He's been kind of down recently, but I got to start him. And if I win this one, I'm in the second round. Saquon starting. Bajan obviously starting. This team's fun. I'm going to start Jordan Addison, but at receiver, should I start Marvin Harrison Jr., who's been massively up and down? And this is a serious question. If you look at his stats, he's been
I know.
Roller coaster. Do I start him or do I start Jalen McMillan against the Chargers? Tough matchup. Or do I pull the trigger on Keon Coleman against Detroit, but he has been out for like 4 games? I think I got to stick with Marvin Harrison, but I think it's a conversation.
No, I think you kind of have to stick with Marvin Harrison Jr. on that one because I just do not like the matchup of you said Jaden McCullen and he's with Chargers.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Coleman could have a game against Lions, but that's the not playing for a month scares me.
Yeah, no, they're going to work him back in slowly,
Yeah.
and they already got Amari Cooper and Kalisha
You
Keefe.
almost said Amari Toomer. That was great. I almost heard it. Remember Amari Toomer?
Yeah,
He was
no,
fun.
I mean, yeah, no, I was sitting there and for
I
some reason,
almost heard it. I was like, Amari Toomer. I like it.
well
I
dressed.
agree with Jason and you. Okay, so here's my other decision. Do I start Zach Ertz at tight end? He played for Washington. He is, I think, like 10th. He's playing New Orleans in New Orleans. Or do I start TJ Hawkinson against the Bears? Interesting one, right? Hawkinson hasn't actually been that great.
You know, and that defense, look at the defenses. I would go with Ertz on that one because it's the Saints, and I'm expecting the Commanders to actually kind of blow them out.
No TDs for Hawkinson. He's had over 70 yards twice. He had 45 yards last week. It's a non-PPR league, so he hasn't really caught the ball a lot. So, yeah, I'm sticking with Ertz. Okay, last one. I think I know the answer on this, but it's a discussion. Maybe. I've got Aaron Jones as a flex. Do I start him against Chicago on Monday night, or Bucky Irving would be the one I'd probably put in, but I think he's about to sit. He had back issues and he barely played last week, and he'd been rolling. But he's playing the Chargers. So the problem is he's got a tough matchup and he's banged up. So that scares me, even though he's been awesome. He's been almost as good as Aaron Jones, recently even better. Or, this is also a scary matchup. Do I start Tyrone Tracy Jr. against the Ravens? I think I leave Aaron Jones in, but
Aaron Jones has made a career out of beating the Bears. I mean, he could play like shit for the whole season, but as soon as he plays the Bears, he looks like Barry Sanders with a little sprinkle of the sweetness on it. Ooh, yeah.
Aaron Jones is a fun player, man. I'm a little sad we lost him, even though Jacobs has been a godsend for us. All right, Peter, toss us your fantasy one really quick, because I know Matt's probably ready to go. It's like 11 o'clock his time. Thanks for hanging out, dude.
Appreciate no problem, dude.
It scared me early on in the beginning. I was like, I'm going to carry this show by myself.
Like I said, I was having some internet issues, and when I woke, so I accidentally dozed off at like 8:15.
I had a feeling you did.
And I was sitting there, and the alarm didn't go off. So I was like, shit. So 8:58, I come running in the room. I get on, and I'm like, shit, like that. And I tried to get on, and finally it came through, and I was like, okay. But yeah.
Thank you for spending a couple hours with me. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Okay. I was going to keep it short, but it's been fun. I've had fun. Okay. Peter's got one. He needs 2 of 3. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Jordan Addison. Bears are playing the Vikings. How's that Vikings pasty? Is it good?
Now, Peter, you are a Bears fan, so it might be painful for me to say this to you, but Jordan Addison will be one of those two.
Yeah. You guys heard Addison.
Yeah.
The Vikings pass D is...
It's weak. So I'd probably go
29th?
Yeah. No, and that's what I was going to say. Tyreek Hill has not really been getting the ball that much lately. In fact, his last touchdown came off a deflection from Jonnu Smith. So I'd probably go with DJ Moore on that one.
Tyreek Hill this year has only 769 yards and 5 TDs. Waddle's almost got him beat.
Derek, is it a full
Smith
PPR
almost has him
or is it
beat?
half?
Jonnu Smith actually has been there. Geez, he's only like 75 yards behind Hill, and he's a tight end. Yeah, man, I agree with Met on this one. I'd go more in Addison, even though it's the same game. But I kind of like starting Monday night guys. Sometimes they pop off. How's that Texans defense? Let's just look at it.
So even though Garrett Wilson is actually having a subpar season, he is second in targets in the NFL right now. I'm really big on targets because at least the ball is getting thrown to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His yards per catch is abysmal with 10.3. But that's still, if he catches the ball, that's 2 points each time. So I would actually go with Garrett Wilson and Shakir Shakir's just been lighting it up, especially if Keenan Coleman might be coming back. I know some people are a little leery about that, but I've just not really been big on T. Higgins. I know a lot of people are up for him, but
it depends on the freaking game. He's been like Jaden Reed. He'll go off and then he'll do nothing. Like Jaden Reed just goose egged it. Higgins cost me. I was 10-4. I was gonna go 11-3. It didn't matter. I'm still got a bye week. But Higgins, I had freaking Joe Burrow in that Jamar Chase game last week, and Higgins only had 2 catches. So like Med just nailed it. I like this fantasy. Let's keep this going. All right, Garrett Wilson, Higgins, Shakir. You led into it.
Full PBR.
So you would sit Higgins there?
I would sit Higgins.
How's Shakir been?
Shakir's been
good. I got him. You know, man, I actually think, who did the Bengals play? They play the Titans. And they got to
defense is low-key get decent. I'm gonna let you know that they are.
Yeah, the first in pass yards actually. They're second. They're freaking second in yards. The Titans defense is. Mm-hmm. You know, man, I actually think I'm with. Plus, freaking Burrow just wants to force feed Chase, like to know, like he's just ignoring Higgins. I'm with Med here. I've got Higgins. In my league where I'm going to buy, and I might have to sit him the following week. And it sucks because I've got Higgins and Reed. I might have to go with my running backs. It's a stacked roster here. I'll tell you the team. Hold on. So I'm on a bye week, so there's no matchup. But let me tell you this team because I'm going to run into this next week, and I'd love to talk some fantasy next week too. Maybe on Cheesy Bear, or maybe on this even. But I've got Higgins, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jaden Reed, and I only have to start one of those receivers. And next week, that's going to be a decision because Harrison's been wildly up and down. Higgins has been kind of the same. And I've got Bucky Irving. I'm hoping he gets healthy and I can start him. But, yeah, man, Higgins has been – like, you look at his stats, man, he's had some great games this year. But recently, Joe Burrow hasn't even looked at him. Did they have a falling out? Did they have a fight? What happened? Like, what is it?
Jamar Chase was his dude back in LSU, so that's the way I look at it.
Since that injury and then the bye, he had 69 a touch. It's not terrible. That's a pretty solid game, actually. He had 10 targets the previous week against Pittsburgh, and then against the freaking Cowboys, he only had 5 targets. It was stupid. So, I don't know. Before he got hurt, he was kind of popping off, actually. He was doing pretty good. No 100-yard games, and then he came back for that one Chargers game and kind of ripped it, but I kind of want to see him. You know, he's got a solid matchup against Cleveland. I'll probably start him next week. So, anybody's got any last? We're going to wrap in a minute, but if anybody's got some last second fantasy questions, I hope you win your game and get to the second round. Watch those matchups. My big advice for people in fantasy med is even this late in the season, if one of your kickers or Ds have a bad matchup or been tailing off, don't be afraid to cut bait. I'm going to move a kicker in my other league. I picked up Will Lutz for Denver, and I'm hoping that works out.
I picked up your boy McManus.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
You did, huh?
Yep. Got a Packer kicking for me, and
I picked him. I picked up Lutz for him.
The one consistent that I have on all my teams, and you know, you kind of whenever you draft and everything, is you always have like a couple players and everything. Mm-hmm. The one that I actually ran with was the New York Jets defense. They've been winning games for me, and they were ranked, I think, 5th. But everyone was like, "Why are you picking them up?" Because I go defense early because especially in a lot of the leagues that I'm in, defense can win you a game.
Mm-hmm.
So picks, sacks, you name it, low-scoring games. The Jets proved themselves last year. They were ranked 5th, 6th this year as far as like PPR ratings and everything. I was like, you know what? Give me the Jets defense, and it's paid off for me.
There you go. I got the Steelers D in the other league. I've got the Packers in this league, but they're playing Seattle, and that's my last decision. I've got the Bills D and the Packers D, and they both have sucky matchups, but I'm going to roll with the Packers, I think, because the Bills in Detroit, that's a tough one to start. But that's a good on you on the Jets. I've been rolling with the Steelers in my 10-4 league. They've been freaking awesome. And Chris Boswell's been a beast. That's really cool, dude. Seriously. Okay, so what do we got coming up on Cheesy Bear? What do you want to do on Tuesday?
Well, you
should
said you
do
wanted
it.
to talk a little bit of fantasy, so we could do that. And
I think we should get a fantasy guy on. And Scott wants to wait till after the season. So we're gonna reach out to some fantasy people and we're gonna get you guys all ready for the second week of the fantasy playoffs for people that are still in it. And talk some dynasty stuff, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. But thank you for the first donation 1 year into the show. Appreciate it. Ned, what you got going on with the shots next week?
well, I don't know yet, but
I know, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do on this show next week.
yeah, no, we'll probably go back to the more
Ooh,
comfortable area of yeah, no, you're more than welcome.
that'd be cool. I invited Jason on
Either
this show.
show. I mean, you got 3 shows between the two of us.
Yeah,
So,
pick your litter. Do you want Cheesy Bear? You want shots, or you want this one, Fun Football?
so but
I don't think we're going to bring the Lions guy on until they lose, and then we'll bring him on.
oh, John,
I want
yeah.
to see that energy.
I mean, I like talking to John because he's so accredited and everything like that, but
I know.
yeah.
It's like you're Sports Illustrated, but man, you make me mad, especially after I lose. My team loses to you. It
Yeah.
really sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks. Anyways, I think
Oh, there you go. You got 2 people right there.
hey, if you two want to come on Tuesday, as long as we talk a little fantasy, I'm game. Let's just do it. So Peter, Jason, you were both invited on Tuesday. Thank you for hanging out too. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're gonna start at 7:30 Tuesday, and then actually I'm gonna talk to the wife. We might go out next Friday, but I still kind of want to do this show on Friday night. So, anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Shots, where can everybody find you?
Well, you'll find me Tuesday with Isaac at 7:30, and then yeah,
Jason and Peter.
and then for shots, you'll find me Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. So we'll see what's going on next week. I do have Larry contacted me. He was the guy that we had on with Cheesy Bear.
Yeah.
So
we gotta A, finish his book, and then B, bring him back on.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm
I've
still
had so much more.
Oh, you did? I'm still at
No.
Sorry, Larry. I'm trying.
I've been busy. It's a good book. It is. I just I got hooked on How I Met Your Mother, so the show. So
great show.
Oh, yes. I never finished it back in the day. My ex hated it, and I stopped at like season 5. And I'm about to hit season 5 again, so I'm about to watch new stuff. But it's fun because the wife is like a half a season or a full season ahead of me. So we've been talking about it. It's been a lot of fun. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's a legend. Wait for it.
Dairy. You better have lactose intolerant. Hope you're not allergic to lactose because we're talking dairy. Another one that we stumbled on that we are enjoying because we did Big Bang Theory. We actually started watching Young Sheldon, and we're up to where the last season is. So we just finale to the 6th one earlier today.
You gonna watch that new show with?
Yeah. No, I like Georgie. Great actor. The actress that plays. Now I'm drawing a blank. The blonde.
Emily Osment. I think it's Emily Osment, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I hope it's great. So, but yeah,
I hope it's good. Did it start? It started already, right?
It already started. Yeah. So we're kind of plowing through the seasons right now.
It's kind of fun watching comedies. Like I watched Better Call Saul and Justified and Yellowstone last year, and they're all great. But it is kind of fun to mix it up with a comedy. The Office was fun. I never watched that all the way through. I had a blast with that.
I was going to say I watched up to season 2 of The Office.
Not a fan.
The first season is really dry for me, and I mean it does get better. And someone told me that, and it did get better. I just with life and everything like that. I mean,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
Peter, bad joke of the day. I missed these. I googled those ink blot test day, but all I got were pictures of butterflies.
Nice.
And did you ever watch last one for you really quick? Did you ever watch New Girl?
Yeah, that's actually a really good show too. And
that's Lynn's favorite, and I don't blame her. It really grew on me too. I did not expect to like it that much, and it was freaking awesome.
Peter, just real quick, I got a Chuck Norris joke for you then. So hold on, it's coming. It's bedtime for me.
I know. I feel bad. My energy at the end here.
Chuck Norris. Okay. Norris doesn't have to flush his toilet. He just scares the shit out of it.
That was pretty good. I like it. That was pretty good. Y'all, we're gonna have to start tossing in so many different dad jokes. I love it. They're great. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, fine. I Googled the dad joke. This is so bad. What did the horse say after it tripped?
What?
Help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up. Oh my gosh, where was this? Hold on. Did you hear they couldn't name a street after Chuck Norris? Really? Or is this a joke?
It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I know it. That's how tired I am. Wait. Chuck Norris lips. That's actually pretty good too. I like both y'all's. All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap, people. Med and I are both old and we're getting sleepy. And it's late. It's
Old and
bedtime.
sleepy.
Old and sleepy. But thank you for hanging out. We're going to have a lot of fun with Peter and Jason on Tuesday. But we'll see you guys soon. You know, I couldn't even find my video, Med. I don't see it. Do you see it?
Hold on.
Is it here?
It's here.
I was going to play and just get the copyright strike.
Oh, you're talking about the fun football one?
Uh-huh.
It's not on this one. Let me you gotta go to Shady, I believe.
Is it on there? There it is. Is it the 25-second one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for the first donation. Wonderful show. And I will see you guys next. Oh, is it another one? Great show. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. See you on Tuesday. Bring your fantasy stuff. I'm going to have some good ones for you guys. Okay. Hold on. So wait, where do I go? Wait.
So Peter, you know how the Grand Canyon was created? Because Chuck Norris got tired of swimming in water.
I'm going to come with some Chuck Norris and some dad jokes next week. I'm very excited. All right, guys. See you guys Tuesday night, and good luck in the fantasy playoffs, and go Packers. And hopefully the Bears get a really nice draft pick. See you guys later.